Hi. Hi. I'm actually redoing this video because the one that I made on YouTube for streaming had terrible quality. So I'm just going to make another one, and hopefully this one will work out a whole lot better as far as resolution goes. What I'll be doing is making some bases for a new game called Gangs of Rome from Footsore Miniatures, and essentially it's based on you being a Dominus that is the leader of a fictional House of Rome during the height of its empire, and the the whole deal of the game is you play. Uh, Essentially, it's a small skirmish type game in which you pit your fighters against another Dominus's fighters in gang wars, and you're essentially trying to gain control and power, and seize a seat within the Senate. What we're going to be doing, as I mentioned, is making bases for those fighters. So a few of the finished products that I have, I'll show you one of them in just a moment if I can get one. Here we go. And this is what it will look like. Hopefully that's a decent quality to see. And what we start with is, as you probably noticed right away, is they are a little bit bigger. They're 30 mil bases as opposed to 25, and you notice that they have notches. These are for two different components, one being, doesn't matter which one, but for their current health and for the number to keep track of which fighter that you've activated. Well, what we'll be using is green stuff, and I recommend getting the green stuff that is not put together first, so this way you don't have to cut out the sections in the middle, since that's typically cured. Depending on how many bases that you're doing. I'm doing quite a bit as I throw them everywhere. So I have quite a bit here. I'll also be using different rollers. You can get the plain rollers, as you can see here. You can get those at a craft store, whether Hobby Lobby, I got this guy at Michael's, whichever is more convenient for you. I also have a textured roller that is from Green Stuff World, that's based in Spain. As you can see here, the texture of those, and I'll compare that with their large one. As you can see the difference. And so you can use either one, but for the size of these guys, they're not larger based, like 40 mil plus. So the smaller ones will look really well. What we'll also be using, actually, before I get on, you may have noticed these buffers that are here. These are also from Green Stuff World. I'd highly recommend getting these if you can. What these do is they're spacers. They raise the roller so that you're not going to have them lopsided. Either way, it works out really well. Though the next thing that we'll also use is petroleum jelly. The reason why is because these, when they're put together, or even now, they're very, very sticky, and they'll stick to anything, whether it's the base, the roller, the platform that you're working with. I know wax paper tends not to stick, but this will make it so much easier, and you don't need a whole lot. What you'll do, you'll just take a little bit, just enough, so that you can get on your fingertips. And what this will do is let it slide and not stick. I've used water in the past for green stuff, hot water. It still works well. The only doubt, it works well in mixing it and such, but it cools off really quickly. It makes a mess. You're constantly having to reapply it. And the other downer is that if you're working on a wood surface, like you can see here, and also the bases are made of wood, wood will absorb water. It's not good. So I would recommend just using like petroleum jelly. If you notice that it's sticking more, like mine is, you just get a little bit more, wipe it on your fingers, and continue on. As you're pressing and folding, moving all these together, it will warm up. It'll become a bit more elastic. So that's not even an issue. As long as you keep it moving, it'll be pretty easy to manipulate. As you're doing it, just pull it apart Make sure that no bits are yellow or blue. If you notice if there's any streams in it, definitely mold those. I mean, not mold those out. Get those out because it won't essentially cure very well. I mean, it'll all get covered up, but you want these to cure completely as opposed to having any soft spots. No. And once you feel that you've done a good job, everything looks good, then it'll simply just take off a bit. Should run a good clean surface. Set the larger bit to the side. Press this guy on. You'll just start smoothing this guy out. There will be a bit of overlap, on the sides, and especially, here on the notches. It's perfectly normal. You just rip those bits off, place them back. If you need a little bit more, just take some off and put it on. Just take your time with this. It'll take a few times to get everything covered up, unless you're wanting to add additional detail for whatever reason. But these wars are usually taking place within the city. So anything other than cobblestone, I mean, you can use dirt if you want. If you're wanting to put anything like an arena type theme, that would work too. Although these guys are going to be cobblestone for my guys. Looks like I dropped the other one. Oh well. The biggest pain in the butt is here on the nose. It's usually the one part that doesn't get covered up very well. So after your initial rolls, just place a little tube roll up of that. Bring that guy down. And you want these flat, but you don't want them so flat that nothing can get to it, because then you won't have enough material for your textured roller to come through with. And you don't want any of your fingerprints. That'll just make everything look ugly. So you just fill in the gaps. I believe this is the 4th time I've had to roll these things out. It just takes time. And once you get that rolled out, make sure all the creases are out as best as you can. Right here. I'll take this and just roll it very carefully. Make sure you apply even pressure. If it comes back up, yeah, see it came up, but that's perfectly fine. And then once it's pressed, just make sure not to squeeze on it too much, because then you'll lose that detail. But this is what we have. It's gorgeous. So you let this, oh man, no. We're still okay, we're good. All right, what I was gonna do is show on the opposite side is you will have some overlap. It's perfectly fine. Once it all dries up, you're just gonna cut around it, and on the inset for the notches too. And then you just don't worry about it. If you're wanting to do that beforehand, you're going to have a big problem. You can always, cut on the outsides and then do a little bit of extra work if you're wanting to have the, have the gravel stand out, the cobblestone stand out, and just cut more of the notches if you're really wanting to do that. As the second bit, I'll just skip ahead. In another video, and I'll show how to paint these guys. When you start here, what you'll do is put on the lower portion, which is the full card base, and then you will stick a magnet underneath that. So super glue the card to the base that we just did, which was this guy. let that set for just a bit. This is after the green stuff is cured. That's going to take about 5-6 hours or so. And then after that is dried, probably about a minute or so, put the magnet on. I got these magnets from Litco. Again, they're 30 mil bases. Put these on. The reason why I also put these on now is so that you can put them on a piece of scrap metal and it just sticks. Makes it super easy so that you don't have stuff sliding around. You can turn it upside down. Makes it super easy to prime a lot of these at one time. Again, like I said, I'll make another video as far as getting from this guy to this guy to this guy. Okay, so I'll make another one later on. And I hope you like this one so far to get you started. And if you have any comments, questions, let me know. Thank you for watching.